What's going on, everybody? This is Scott, also known as ChaChingKing, and I am going to talk to you today about a very, very serious issue that all of us as resellers face. I want to talk to you about the common scams that buyers see, because I think that as resellers, we not only have the ability to help with some of that, but I think those things hurt us just as much as they do the buyer. I also want to thank Aura for sponsoring this video because it fits right in with this topic. Aura is a digital security company, and they have given me an opportunity to present to you a no-risk trial, and we'll talk more about that in just a minute. First, let's talk about some of the things that buyers face and why that's a big deal for us as resellers. When a shady seller takes advantage of a buyer, it isn't just that buyer that pays for that. It's us. It erodes confidence in our platform that we work on. It erodes confidence in other sellers, which is us. And it weakens everything that we're doing. There are things that we can do that will put buyers at ease, but also make it harder for people that are trying to scam them, because we lose when that happens too. If you're a buyer, then hopefully some of these things will help protect you from that. And as a seller, hopefully it will help you identify ways to make sure the buyer knows that you're not one of those people. One of the first things that buyers face is what's called a non-delivery scam. The buyer gets on eBay, they find an item, they pay for it in good faith. They either don't get tracking information at all, or they get fake tracking information. The buyer basically loses their money. At a minimum, they're going to lose time getting their money back. So what does that mean for us as a seller? What can we do to make sure buyers know that this isn't something we're involved in and it's not something that we support? I think the first thing that you can do is provide them with accurate tracking information and do it in a timely manner. You got to remember, it's scary, especially for people that don't shop online all the time. They just paid you money. Communicate shipping updates with them, especially during times where there's going to be a lag of any kind. Will put the buyers so much at ease just to get a quick note from you, and you can standardize this and say, hey, thank you for your purchase. I will ship on such and such a date. Lets them know that you're responding to them and responding to that purchase, so their money didn't just disappear into a vacuum and now they just hope that they eventually get what they paid for. Sometimes the buyer's concerns come to you and they seem so simple that you can't believe they're asking. For example, a lot of times you'll get somebody, they'll buy something on a Friday night, and then 5 minutes later they send you a note and like, when are you going to ship? As a seller, you immediately bristle like, man, you just paid for it. It's not even possible for me to ship it yet. And really, a response to that is so easy. It says, hey, thank you so much. This will ship out first thing Monday morning. And that alone is usually all the buyers are trying to get. That communication, it genuinely helps you maintain a good feedback rating. It truly does, because you've had an open line of communication. You aren't just some random seller out there. You're somebody that they've talked to, and that truly helps. Let's move on to number 2. 2, for me, is one of the most simple ones for you to fix, and that's the misrepresentation scam. I have been a victim of this. I ordered a thumb drive. It said it on the card, but what was actually available inside the card was completely different, completely misrepresented what they were selling. That's a big deal for a buyer. There are things you can do to put a buyer at ease so that they know you're not going to take advantage of them. And the first and foremost, have great pictures. If you're like me, I sell a lot of vintage used items. And the last thing I want to do is not take a picture of a flaw and hope they didn't see it. In fact, my pictures, while I try to make my pictures look good, they're going to show the worst parts of the item so that when my buyer gets it, it looks better than what they thought. Part of what you can do for that is having really accurate pictures that show the flaws, that show the details, which leads you straight into the condition notes and the description. And I know what some of you are thinking, because I've thought it myself, is nobody reads the description. They don't read this stuff. I get it. I know that sometimes people don't. But I'm talking about legitimate buyers who want to be sure, and if they read it, I want it there for them. I'm listing an item tomorrow that has some pretty serious flaws, and I am absolutely concerned that people are going to be so excited when they see this that they're going to be bidding and jumping in, and they're going to overpay for something I don't think is worth that much. And so what I'm going to do is, in my pictures, in my description, in my condition notes, I am going to hammer the point that don't overpay. Go and look at the pictures carefully. Here are the things that I think are wrong with this. And I think that you can put a lot of buyers at ease when you've shown the worst of something. That actually develops more confidence than when you put everything is sunshine and roses. Let's move on to number 3. It's the third type of scam that buyers who are shopping online have to face and have to deal with. And that is counterfeit items. We know as sellers, and the circles that I run in and the people that are my friends and my fellow resellers, the last thing we want to do is sell a counterfeit. We never want to sell a counterfeit because we know we lose in that deal, even if we get away with it. That erodes the confidence in the entire platform, and it erodes confidence in us. I've said this before. If I could go through and get rid of every single scammer who is shopping on eBay and trying to steal from us, I would do that in a heartbeat. But if I could go through and snap my fingers and all of the sellers who are selling counterfeit junk and representing us as sellers, and they could be gone, I would snap my fingers just as fast for that. So what can we do as a seller to build confidence in a buyer? And as far as counterfeits go, again, clear, accurate pictures are going to go so far towards attacking a lot of these kind of things. The other thing that you can do is have a return policy. I think in every video I've ever put out, I talk about how important it is to offer returns to people. Telling people there are no returns doesn't scare off a scammer anyway. What I want is the person who's shopping at home and they just want to be sure, I want them to know that if there's an issue, I'm going to do my very best to take care of it. I am a real individual who genuinely wants the people who buy my stuff to be happy. So having a return policy that's very clear about what it does and what it doesn't do will go a long way towards building confidence in that buyer who might otherwise be worried about it. And there will be some items that you can offer the buyer authentication services. I just sold a pair of shoes. They went through the authentication service. When the buyer gets them, they know they've been authenticated by a third party that isn't me. So where that's available, take advantage of that because that builds a ton of confidence. And that leads me right into the sponsor of this video, Aura. Aura is literally a one-stop digital security shop. Melody and I have been the victims of identity theft. This happened several years ago. We had somebody that got a hold of Melody's driver's license, and in a 48-hour period, they wrote checks at Walmarts all the way across the country, from Alaska to Florida. Very, very quickly, we were able to prove that it wasn't us. Very, very quickly, we filed a fraud report with the police department, and then we spent years cleaning it up. Years. No joke. It was an absolute nightmare. And now we live in an age where our entire livelihood is online. Whether you are just starting a business today or you're like us and we've been online for quite a while, all of my information is out there. When it's unprotected, I'm at great risk. And so I think this not only applies to us as sellers, but think about the buyers. When a buyer gets online, they got to put their personal information. They got to put their bank account information. They put their home address. They've got their name. It's all out there. And the wrong person gets a hold of it and they can do serious damage. What Aura has let me give you is 2 weeks, 14-day free trial for you to go check it out. And I feel so strongly that all of us need to investigate digital security that I don't care if you use my link or not. I will put a link in the description, and if you use it, I am reimbursed by Aura for that. You do not have to go through my link. Go check out Aura yourself. They're easy to find online. This is not a small company. This is a big company. They work with everybody from Robert Downey Jr. to the NBA. But I do think being protected is really important. Let's go ahead and get back to what our buyers are facing and what we can do about it. Number 4, I feel like it's happened to me. I feel like I have seen people doing this, and it's the shill bidding scam. Let's talk about this item I'm listing tomorrow. It is a black label Gunny Sacks dress, and it's awesome. I'm going to start that auction at 99 cents with free shipping. Here's what a shill bidding scam is, and this concerns buyers, and it should, but it should concern you as a seller too. I'm going to list this for 99 cents, and let's say that this doesn't get the traction that I feel like it should get, and we get down and we've got a few minutes left in it. What a shill bid is I've got a friend of mine or somebody like that, and they go in and they put in a few bids to bump that price up so that I get what I want for it. There are things we can do to put a buyer at ease that that's not going to happen. I include a statement in mine that I don't end auctions early, and I don't have a buy it now. When I'm auctioning an item off, it's going to go for whatever it says it's going to go for, period. If I put something out at 99 cents with free shipping, you know what's the worst thing that's going to happen? I'm going to lose a few dollars on something. That's my integrity is worth way more than a few dollars. And again, that open line of communication starts with the listing. I think that for the buyers, letting them know that I'm going to follow through with this sale, regardless of what it goes for. And the worst thing that's happened, somebody's going to get a great deal. That's the worst thing that can happen, and I'm okay with that. Protect your feedback. Your feedback is your number one tool for you to tell buyers that you're not doing these other things. So let's move on to number 5. As a seller, I have been victim of a refund scam. As a seller, I've had people refund things that clearly were not the same item, or they were clearly not having the problem that they said that they were going to have. The refund scam that happens to buyers looks a little different, and there are things that we can do to make sure that they know that that's not going to happen. First thing, as always, as I just said it, it's going to be your feedback. It's going to be very obvious to a potential buyer if your feedback is just littered with, I didn't ever get my money back, or I had to have eBay step in. That shouldn't be the norm, and I understand completely that anything could happen, but you need to protect that feedback because that's a huge tool for you to communicate with buyers. But here's what some sellers do. A buyer wants to return something, and they send the buyer an address that is different from their eBay address. The goal in that is to show that it never came back, whether they got it back or not. So let's talk about how we can protect buyers from refund scams. One of the first things to do is make sure all of your communication goes through the eBay messaging system. The sellers, the unscrupulous ones who are trying to do things like this, they try to get that buyer to communicate with them off of the platform so there's no evidence of it. And how you fix that is you make sure you keep all of the communication on there, not just to protect you, but in doing so, you're also protecting that buyer, even if they don't understand it, even if they don't know why. Our job as sellers is to do our best to make sure buyers get exactly what they paid for. They get the policies that are in place to protect them as much as they are to protect us. I want the buyer to know in my messaging with them how they can protect themselves. And so I will let them know, make sure that you have tracking. Let me know when you have it. And that way you'll know when I get it back. The solutions for us as sellers are so critically important because in protecting that buyer, I protect my business. Let me summarize this. Regardless of whether or not you give a specific scam a name, the reality of it is that buyers have a lot of things that they are also facing when they buy online from people that they don't know. And what we should be doing as resellers is building that confidence for them. My goal is for a buyer to be able to look at my listing and see a difference between what I'm putting on there and what a scammer might put on there. And sometimes it can be subtle. I'm trying to make mine not subtle. I try to make sure that they know that I actually care about what I'm doing. I care about what I'm selling. I care about what they're getting. Let's end it with this one simple thought. The best thing that we can do for our business is to make sure that we take care of the buyer. I appreciate you watching. I'll see you real soon on the next one. Bye.